Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
I mean, for instance, there are surgical placebo studies. You can't do them anymore. The human experimentation committees won't let you do it. But there were earlier studies that were done where, for instance, people would get the surgery, but some would get the real surgery and some would simply get the incision, but the actual, and yet still you had placebo effect. Mm-hmm. So what this is telling us, I would propose, is I think of it in terms of psychophysical self-regulation, mm-hmm. that we are able to access an informational aspect of ourselves, that non-local consciousness mm-hmm. part, and that through that we know which part of our bodies have to be altered in order to produce the placebo effect. Now, people rarely think about this. In fact, they rarely talk about placebos at all. They talk about the drugs. But when you actually look at the studies, you see, mm-hmm. as you say, placebo is a very powerful effect, and that somehow people know what to do.
Because even though the sugar pill has no real medicinal value whatsoever, they have, by virtue of taking it, they are intending that they are going to be healed.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That is precisely it. But not just that they intend to be healed, but they get access to the informational construct which will allow a very particular kind of healing to take place. Mm-hmm. And so, again, what this is all suggesting, when you look at all of this sort of material, and you have to look across many different disciplines and really look at large bodies of data, what you come away with is not only that we have the power to control ourselves down to the cellular level and to have an effect on other beings down to the cellular level, which is what the healing studies are about, but that we also have access to information which allows us to know how to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. I would even propose, Stephen, that it's a little bit beyond information. Theodore Roszak once wrote a book, The Cult of Information. I interviewed him about it years ago, and he would distinguish between information, knowledge, and wisdom. And I think we're getting into the realm of wisdom here.
Well, selective understanding of information, yes, I would agree. And yet, we know, for instance, that children have placebo effects. Now, how does a child know this? Mm-hmm. And again, I think we confront this business that we are first and foremost beings of consciousness. Yeah. And that the physical manifestation is a manifestation of consciousness. If you look at the reincarnation studies, for instance, that were done by Ian Stevenson are now being done by Jim Tucker, these things where people seem to bring across scar tissue and birthmarks from earlier incarnations, how do they know? Where is that information? In fact, I would propose to you that the great mystery, mm-hmm. for me anyway, the great question is, what is information? Mm. Because it's not in a physical place. If you are talking about reincarnation, information coming across between manifestations of a consciousness in an incarnation, mm-hmm. where was that information? When we talk to people who've had near-death experiences and they produce objectively verifiable information during states of brain death or non-function, where is that information?
Well, I think that mysterious question is what prompted some thinkers, such as your colleague, Irvin Laszlo, to postulate the Akashic field, that we are embedded in a field that includes all information and all wisdom even.
Yes.